A young billionaire finds a homeless girl abandoned in the rain with twin babies and asks his wife to take care of them. But when he returns from a business trip, he is shocked by what his wife did to them. Noah Sinclair gripped the steering wheel tightly, his eyes fixed on the dark road ahead. The rain pounded against the windshield of his luxury car, creating a frantic rhythm that matched his restless thoughts. Another endless day at the office. Another night arriving home late. At 35 years old, Noah had achieved everything he'd ever dreamed of: a successful company, a mansion anyone would envy, and a bank account that would make anyone's jaw drop. But that night, as he fought through the storm, none of it seemed to matter. A bolt of lightning slashed across the sky, briefly illuminating the road ahead. Noah blinked, trying to fight off fatigue. That was when his headlights caught something unusual on the shoulder. He slowed down, furrowing his brow to see better through the sheet of rain. His heart nearly stopped. There, drenched and shivering, stood a little girl who couldn't have been more than 5 years old. And in her arms, she was holding babies. Noah hit the brakes, his car skidding a bit before coming to a complete stop. For a moment, he was frozen, hands still on the wheel. His mind screamed for him to keep driving. After all, what could he, an entrepreneur with zero experience in childcare, do in a situation like that? But something inside him refused to abandon that scene. With a heavy sigh, Noah opened the car door, instantly pelted by icy rain. "Hey!" he called out, trying to be heard above the storm. "Are you okay?" The girl shrank back, clutching the babies tighter against her chest. Her wide eyes shone with fear in the darkness. Noah approached slowly, his hands raised to show he wasn't a threat. "I'm not going to hurt you," he said, his voice softer now. "It's cold out here. How about coming into the car? It's warm inside." The girl hesitated, her gaze darting between Noah and the dark road behind her. One of the babies began to cry, the sound almost drowned out by the rain. "What's your name?" Noah asked, feeling the water trickle down his face. "Lily," the girl answered, her voice barely a whisper. "Nice to meet you, Lily." "I'm Noah," he smiled, trying to sound as friendly as possible. "Are those your baby siblings?" Lily nodded, hugging the babies even closer. "They look cold," Noah commented. "How about we go to the car? I promise I won't do anything bad. I just want to help." After what felt like an eternity, Lily took a small step forward. Noah let out the breath he hadn't realized he was holding. Gently, he led Lily and the babies to the car. The contrast between the warm, dry interior and the raging storm outside was striking. Noah turned the heater on full blast, noticing how Lily's clothes were completely soaked. "There are some towels in the back seat," he said, reaching over and handing them to Lily. "You can dry off a little." While Lily busied herself drying the babies, Noah tried to process the situation. What were 3 small children doing alone on a deserted road in the middle of a storm? Where were their parents? And what on earth should he do now? "Lily," he began, trying to keep his voice calm, "can you tell me what happened? Where are your parents?" Lily's face tightened, and for a moment Noah feared she would start crying. But she just hugged the babies more tightly and stayed quiet. Noah sighed, running a hand through his wet hair. Every fiber of his being shouted that this was a bad idea, that he should just take the children to the nearest police station and let the authorities handle the problem. But then he looked at Lily in the rearview mirror, saw the fear and exhaustion in her eyes, and realized he couldn't do that. "All right," he said, more to himself than to Lily. "We'll go to my house. It's late when you need a warm, dry place to stay the night. Tomorrow we'll see what to do, okay?" Lily didn't answer, but Noah noticed her shoulders relax slightly. During the drive, Noah tried several times to strike up a conversation, hoping for more information. But Lily remained silent, her eyes glued to the road, as though expecting something to jump out from the darkness at any moment. As he drove, Noah's mind raced. How would Elena, his wife, react when he arrived with 3 children? She had never hidden her dislike for kids. It was one of the tension points in their marriage. Noah had always wanted to be a father, but Elena had other priorities. When they finally reached the Sinclair mansion, Noah parked the car and turned to Lily. "We're here," he said, flashing a reassuring smile. "Shall we go in? I promise everything will be okay." Lily looked up at the imposing house, eyes wide with intimidation. Noah felt a pang in his chest. How would this girl, who'd just been alone on a dark road, handle the mansion's cold luxury? Sighing, Noah stepped out of the car and opened the door for Lily. "Come on," he said gently, extending his hand. Time to finally get out of the rain. Walking toward the entrance, Noah felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. He had no clue what awaited them inside that house, nor what the future would hold for these children. But at that moment, under the soft glow of the porch light, Noah silently vowed to do whatever was necessary to keep them safe, even if only for that night. Noah inserted the key in the lock, his heart hammering against his chest. He slowly opened the door, as though bracing himself for what lay on the other side. Lily was right behind him, the babies still cradled in her small arms. "Elena," Noah called, his voice echoing in the foyer. "I'm home." The sound of high heels clicking on the marble floor announced Elena's arrival before she appeared. As soon as she turned the corner and saw Noah, a smile began to form on her lips. But then she noticed Lily and the babies, and her smile vanished in an instant. "Noah," Elena said, her voice controlled but clearly tense. "What is this?" Noah swallowed hard. "Elena, I can explain." Elena crossed her arms, her icy blue eyes fixed on the children. "Please, go ahead." Noah nodded toward the living room. "Let's sit." "It's a long story." Elena stiffly agreed and followed them to the sofa. Lily curled up next to Noah, clearly picking up on the tense atmosphere. "I found them on the road," Noah began, words tumbling out. "It was pouring, and they were alone. I couldn't leave them there." Elena closed her eyes for a moment, apparently trying to compose herself. When she looked at him again, her gaze was firmly on Noah. "And why did you bring them here? Why not to the police?" "It was late," Noah answered, running a hand through his hair. "They were scared, soaked. I thought they needed a safe place for the night." Elena exhaled in exasperation. "Noah, you can't just bring random children into our house. What if their parents are looking for them? Or if—" A piercing wail cut Elena short. One of the babies had woken up and was now crying at full volume. Lily tried to soothe the baby, rocking gently, but the crying only grew louder. Elena physically recoiled, her face a mask of discomfort. "Make it stop," she gritted out. Noah stood, awkwardly taking the baby from Lily's arms. "Shh, it's okay," he murmured, rocking the baby like people do in movies. To his surprise, the cries began to subside. Elena watched, equal parts fascinated and horrified. "You don't even know how to hold a baby," she commented. Noah shrugged, still rocking gently. "Learning as I go." Silence descended, broken only by the baby's soft whimpers. Noah gazed at Elena, noticing the tension around her eyes. He knew that look. She wore it when dealing with particularly tricky problems at work. "Elena," Noah began in a measured tone, "I know this isn't what you expected. It's not what I expected either. But these children need help." Elena abruptly stood, heading toward the window. She turned her back to them, shoulders rigid. "For how long?" she finally asked. Noah hesitated. "I don't know," he confessed. "I'll start looking for their parents tomorrow, see what happened. But for now they stay," Elena finished, turning around. Her face was carefully neutral, but Noah could sense the conflict in her eyes. Noah felt huge relief. "Thank you, Elena." She waved away his gratitude. "Where will they sleep?" Noah looked around, as if the answer might be hidden in some corner. "We can set them up in the guest room," he suggested. "There's enough space for an improvised crib for the babies." Elena nodded, already climbing the stairs. "I'll get some clean sheets." Once Elena was gone upstairs, Noah turned to Lily. She sat very still, her large eyes flitting around the room. "Are you hungry?" he asked gently. Lily hesitated a moment before giving a timid nod. "Let's see what we have in the kitchen," Noah smiled, extending his hand to her. In the mansion's modern and spacious kitchen, Noah faced a brand new challenge. What do you feed a 5-year-old? He opened the fridge, scanning the shelves stuffed with gourmet foods and fancy wines. "How about a sandwich?" he asked, pulling out a package of whole grain bread. Lily nodded, intently watching as Noah assembled the sandwich. He placed it on a plate and slid it toward her, followed by a glass of milk. As Lily ate, Noah tried again to get some answers. "Lily," he asked softly, "can you tell me what happened? Where are your parents?" Lily stopped mid-chew, her eyes welling with tears. Noah felt his chest tighten. "It's all right," he said quickly. "You don't have to talk about it now. Let's just finish eating and then get some rest, okay?" Lily visibly relaxed and resumed eating. Noah observed her, his mind swirling with 1,000 questions. How could these 3 children have ended up alone like that? Elena returned, arms laden with sheets and towels. "The room's ready," she announced. Her gaze flicked over to Lily, still finishing her sandwich. For a moment, a flicker of compassion crossed her face, but it vanished almost immediately. "Let's go. It's late," Eleanor said, her tone softer than before. "You need rest." Noah, still holding the baby, gestured for Lily to follow. They made their way upstairs in silence, Elena leading the way. The guest room was huge and elegantly decorated, just like the rest of the house. Elena had dressed the large bed with fresh linens and placed some cushions on the floor, forming a makeshift nest for the babies. "It's not ideal," she commented, sounding almost apologetic, "but it'll do for one night." Noah gently laid the baby in the improvised nest, and Lily did the same with the other. The children were clearly exhausted, their eyes already heavy. "Good night, Lily," Noah said softly. "If you need anything, he will be in the room at the end of the hall, okay?" Lily nodded, climbing onto the massive bed that seemed to engulf her. Noah felt a pang seeing such a tiny girl alone in that big, unfamiliar room. Elena was already waiting in the hallway, obviously impatient to leave. Noah followed her, carefully shutting the door behind him. In their bedroom, the silence was heavy. Elena perched on the edge of the bed, her shoulders slumped. "Noah," she began, her voice laced with fatigue. "What are we going to do?" Noah sat beside her, taking her hands. "I don't know," he admitted, "but we'll figure it out together." Elena looked at him, her eyes full of doubt and fear. "And what if we can't? What if we never find their parents? We can't keep these kids, Noah. We don't know the first thing about parenting." Noah gently squeezed her hands. "One step at a time," he said. "We'll start looking for answers tomorrow. For now, they're safe and warm. That's what matters." Elena gave a slow nod, but Noah could tell she wasn't fully convinced. Another weighted silence settled in, each lost in their own thoughts. Getting ready for bed, Noah couldn't stop thinking about the 3 children sleeping just down the hall. He realized he had acted impulsively by bringing them here, but something inside told him it was the right thing to do. As he lay in bed, listening to Elena's soft breathing, Noah wondered what the next day would bring. One thing he knew for certain: their lives had been irreversibly changed by that stormy night. The sun had barely begun to rise when Noah woke up. He glanced at Eleanor, still asleep, then got up with a sigh. The night had been restless, with intermittent cries from the babies echoing through the house. Noah left quietly to check on the kids. Opening the guest room door, he saw Lily already awake, perched on the bed, gazing out the window. "Good morning, Lily," he whispered. "Did you sleep well?" Lily nodded, her eyes shifting to the still sleeping babies. Noah approached, uncertain. "Are you hungry? Maybe we can go downstairs and make some breakfast." In the kitchen, Noah once again confronted the dilemma of feeding a child. He settled on something simple: cereal and milk for Lily, plus some chopped fruit for the babies, which Lily mentioned were nearly 1-year-old. While they were eating, Elena appeared in the doorway, already dressed for work. Her gaze took in the scene, and Noah noticed a slight furrow in her brow. "Morning," she greeted neutrally. "Noah, can we talk for a minute?" In the office, Elena shut the door and turned to him. "You didn't forget about your business trip, did you?" Noah's stomach lurched. He had completely forgotten about the trip amid all the previous night's chaos. "Eleanor, I can't go. Not with these kids here," he began, but she cut him off. "Noah, You have to. This contract is crucial for the company, she insisted. I'll stay with the kids. Noah stared at her, taken aback. Are you sure? I know this isn't exactly your specialty. Elena folded her arms. I can handle it for a few days. I'll call social services and see what we can do. Noah hesitated, torn between his work responsibilities and his concern for the children. All right, he finally agreed. But call me if you need anything at all. An hour later, Noah was in the car, reluctantly pulling away from his home and the children. He glanced in the rearview mirror and saw Lily at the window, watching him drive off. Eleanor closed the door the moment Noah's car vanished from sight. She turned to face a house that suddenly felt strangely full of life. The sound of baby babbling drifted from the living room, where Lily was playing with the twins. Drawing in a determined breath, Eleanor headed for her home office. She powered on her computer and began a frantic online search for social services. The first results were discouraging, official websites full of jargon and complicated procedures. Eleanor frowned, typing new keywords. After an hour with no luck, she resorted to phone calls. The first number she tried kept her on hold for 20 minutes, only to transfer her to another department. Child Protective Services. How may I help you? A weary-sounding voice greeted her. Elena quickly explained the situation, hoping for a fast resolution. Ma'am, I understand your concern, but we can't just pick up the children like that. We need a formal investigation, reports. Eleanor cut in. How long would that take? Well, the process can drag on for weeks, sometimes months. Eleanor hung up, frustrated. She glanced at the clock, shocked to find it was nearly noon. Crying from the living room pulled her back to reality. In the living room, she saw Lily trying to calm one of the twins, while the other crawled dangerously close to an expensive vase. Elena rushed over, scooping the baby up before she reached the vase. Holding the child awkwardly, she looked at Lily. They're hungry, Lily said softly. Eleanor nodded, feeling totally out of her element. Right. Let's head to the kitchen. In the kitchen, Eleanor rummaged through the cabinets, finding a few cans of soup that Noah must have stocked. Not ideal for babies, but it would have to do. As she heated the soup, Eleanor watched Lily, who seemed perfectly at ease caring for her sisters. Have you been doing this a long time? She blurted, then immediately wondered if she should have asked. Lily shrugged. Mom sometimes needed help. Elena felt a pang of something she couldn't fully identify. Pity. Admiration. She shook it off, pushing the thoughts away. The rest of the day passed in a blur of diapers, makeshift bottles, and futile attempts to reach social services. By the time night rolled around, Elena was exhausted. Lying in bed alone, Elena mulled over the chaos of the day. She had always maintained tight control of her life, each minute scheduled and productive. Now she felt adrift, navigating unknown waters. Her phone buzzed with a message from Noah. How are things? Are the kids okay? Eleanor paused before replying. Part of her wanted to let everything out, to say how difficult it all was. But something held her back. Everything is under control. The kids are fine. Focus on your trip. She hit send and put the phone down, ignoring the twinge of guilt at not being fully honest. A faint cry floated down the hallway. Elena shut her eyes, mentally counting to 10. Then she sighed, got up, and headed for the children's room. Inside, she found Lily awake, rocking one of the twins. The girl looked at Elena with tired determination. I'll take care of them, Lily whispered. Elena hovered in the doorway. Part of her wanted to accept Lily's offer, retreat to her own bed and pretend none of this was happening. But another part, one she barely recognized, pushed her forward. No, it's okay, Elena said, surprising even herself. You need rest too. I'll stay with them for a bit. Lily looked at her with a mix of surprise and relief. Slowly, she handed the baby to Eleanor, who took the little one carefully. Sitting in the armchair, gently rocking the baby, Eleanor's thoughts turned to her own childhood. The nights she wished for someone to reassure her, to promise everything would be fine. Glancing at Lily, now asleep, and at the baby in her arms, Elena felt a shift inside her. She made a silent resolution. She would find a way to help these kids, even if it was the last thing she did. Holding on to that thought, Elena settled into the armchair, bracing for a long night. Dawn would bring fresh hurdles, but for now, in the quiet darkness, she let herself be there, cradling the little one in her arms. Eleanor woke up with a jolt, her neck sore from sleeping in the armchair. The room was bathed in a gentle morning light, and she was briefly disoriented. Then she remembered the events of the previous day, and it all hit her like a train. Lily was already awake, skillfully changing one of the twins, something that astonished Elena. The other baby still slept soundly in the improvised crib. "Good morning," Elena croaked. Lily nodded a shy greeting. Elena stood, stretching her stiff muscles. "Want to go down for breakfast?" In the kitchen, Elena stared at the fridge as though it were an adversary. She had never been much of a cook. She and Noah typically ordered takeout or ate out. But now, with 3 small children to feed, she had to improvise. "What do you usually have for breakfast, Lily?" Eleanor asked, hoping for guidance. "Pancakes," Lily answered softly. "Mom used to make them on Sundays." Elena hesitated. Pancakes seemed complicated for her first real attempt at cooking for kids, but the hopeful look on Lily's face made her reconsider. "Okay, pancakes it is," she agreed, pulling out her phone to find a simple recipe. Half an hour later, the kitchen was a disaster. Flour everywhere, a puddle of milk on the floor, and her first pancake fused to the pan. Elena was about to give up when Lily approached timidly. "Can I help?" the girl offered. Elena looked at Lily, surprised. "You know how to make pancakes?" Lily nodded. "Mum taught me." Under Lily's guidance, Elena managed to produce a decent stack of pancakes. The aroma drew the twins, who chirped excitedly from their makeshift high chairs. As they ate, Elena observed them closely. Lily, though shy, exhibited a maturity well beyond her years. The twins, whom Elena learned were Sophie and Emma, were 2 energetic whirlwinds. After breakfast, Elena wondered how to occupy the kids for the day. Though spacious, her home wasn't exactly child-friendly. "What do you like to do, Lily?" Elena asked, hoping for a plan. Lily seemed to think for a moment. "I like drawing," she finally said. Elena felt immediate relief. Drawing was quiet and relatively mess-free. Perfect. She found some paper and markers in her office and handed them over. While Lily drew, Eleanor entertained the twins. She discovered Sophie adored an old teddy bear hidden in a closet, while Emma was fascinated by a wooden spoon from the kitchen. The hours dragged on. Eleanor tried to alternate between her own work on the laptop and tending to the children. Each time she thought she found a rhythm, something interrupted, a diaper change, a cry to soothe, a bump to attend to. Mid-afternoon, exhausted and on edge, Eleanor nearly snapped at Sophie when the baby knocked over a glass of water. Sophie's lip began trembling, and Elena worried she might start wailing. Then Lily intervened, calmly scooping Sophie up and whispering soothing words. Elena watched, a mixture of gratitude and shame washing over her. Here she was, a successful adult, nearly losing her cool with a toddler, while a 5-year-old handled the situation calmly. "I'm sorry," Elena murmured, not sure if it was directed at Sophie, Lily, or herself. Lily gave her a compassionate look. "It's okay. Sometimes it's hard." Those words, coming from such a young child, deeply moved Elena. She sank to the floor next to Lily and the twins, feeling utterly defeated. "How do you make it look so easy?" Elena asked quietly. Lily shrugged. "It's not easy, but they're my sisters." Elena felt a lump forming in her throat. Lily's devotion to her siblings was palpable. For a moment, Eleanor wondered how that kind of bond might feel. The rest of the afternoon blurred into a series of improvised play sessions. Elena discovered the twins loved playing peekaboo, even if their idea of hiding was just covering their eyes with their hands. By evening, Elena was drained but unexpectedly content. She even managed to bathe the twins without too much chaos, though she got soaked, and Lily assisted in preparing a simple mac and cheese dinner. As she put the children to bed, Elena found herself humming a lullaby she hadn't realized she knew, perhaps a distant childhood recollection. Back in her own room, she fell onto the bed, every muscle aching. She picked up her phone, noticing a message from Noah checking on them. She hesitated. How to even begin describing the day? The moments of panic, frustration, and also surprising joy. "Everything's okay," she typed at last. "The kids are settling in. I think I am too." Setting the phone aside, Elena closed her eyes. Images of the day flooded her mind. Lily drawing so intently, Sophie giggling over peekaboo, Emma's toothless grin at dinner. She realized she was smiling. It had been a challenging day, yes, but also fulfilling. In a way her job hadn't been in a long time. A soft sob trickled from the next room. Eleanor sighed but got up without hesitation. Entering the children's room, she found Lily awake, rocking Emma. "I can take over," Elena offered softly. "You should go back to sleep." Lily appeared surprised but handed Emma over without a word. As Elena gently rocked the baby, she realized something. She was starting to care. She couldn't pinpoint when or how it happened, but in just 2 days, these children had carved out a place in her heart. And that, Elena understood with both fear and excitement, changed everything. Eleanor woke abruptly in the middle of the night, her heart thumping. For a moment she was disoriented, not sure what had roused her. Then she heard it, a muffled sob from the children's room. She got up quickly, padding across the cold floor in bare feet. Peering into the room, she half expected one of the twins to be crying, but it wasn't either of the babies. Lily was sitting on the bed, knees tucked to her chest, quietly weeping. The sight hit Elena like a punch to the gut. "Lily," she called gently, stepping closer. "What's wrong?" The girl lifted her face, her tear-stained eyes gleaming under the soft glow of the lamp. I had a nightmare," she whispered. Eleanor hesitated, uncertain how to proceed. Comforting children had never been her forte, but something about Lily's vulnerability drove her to act. She sat on the edge of the bed and, after a short pause, placed her hand on Lily's shoulder. "Do you want to talk about it?" Lily sniffled, wiping her tears with the back of her hand. "I dreamed about Mom and Dad. They were leaving and I couldn't reach them." Eleanor's chest tightened. For the first time since the children arrived, she allowed herself to think about their parents. What had happened? Why would they abandon 3 small kids? "I'm so sorry, Lily," Eleanor said softly. "That must be so hard." Lily nodded, tears still rolling silently. "I miss them," she murmured. But I have to be strong for the babies." The maturity in Lily's words shocked Elena. Here was a 5-year-old, bearing a burden that even most adults would find daunting. Almost involuntarily, Elena pulled Lily into a hug. The little girl stiffened briefly, then relaxed, burying her face in Elena's shoulder. "You don't have to be strong all the time," Elena murmured, stroking Lily's hair. "Sometimes it's okay to cry and to feel sad." Holding Lily, Elena's own thoughts drifted back to her childhood. Memories she had carefully shut away began to resurface. You know," Elena ventured tentatively, "when I was your age, I ended up alone too." Lily pulled back slightly, her eyes curious. "Really?" Elena nodded, her throat tightening. "Yes, I grew up in an orphanage." The admission was difficult. Eleanor almost never talked about her past, not even to Noah. But Lily's vulnerability and the situation they were in made her feel it was necessary. "What was it like?" Lily asked, her voice small. Elena closed her eyes for a moment, letting the memories flood back. "It was lonely," she admitted. "There were many children, but I always felt by myself. I used to dream about having a family, someone to hug me when I had nightmares." Lily burrowed closer to Eleanor. "You don't have a family now?" The innocent question struck Elena like lightning. She had Noah, of course, but family in the true sense. "I have Noah," she said finally, "but we don't have children. I always worried I wouldn't know how to be a mum." The words slipped out before Elena could hold them back. It was a truth she barely admitted to herself, much less to a child she barely knew. Lily stayed quiet for a moment, as though processing. Then, to Elena's surprise, the little girl reached out and wiped away a tear Elena hadn't noticed. "You're doing fine," Lily said with a seriousness that seemed far beyond her years. "You make pancakes and give us hugs. That's what moms do." Eleanor felt something crumble inside. The walls she had built for so long, The fear of getting close and becoming vulnerable began to collapse. She pulled Lily closer, allowing herself to cry for the first time in years. She cried for the scared little girl she had once been, for the loneliness she had endured, and for the unexpected bond forming now. They stayed like that for a long time. Eleanor and Lily, two wounded souls taking solace in each other. When the tears finally ran dry, Elena felt strangely lighter, as though a weight had lifted. "Thank you, Lily," she whispered. Lily smiled a small but genuine smile. "Can I sleep with you tonight?" Elena hesitated, her years of habitually keeping people at arm's length warring with a new tenderness, but gazing into Lily's hopeful eyes, she couldn't say no. "Of course," she answered, surprising herself at how naturally it came out. They settled into Elena's large bed, Lily snuggling against her as if it were the most normal thing in the world. Within minutes, Lily's breathing slowed, sleep overcoming her. Elena remained awake a while longer, watching Lily's peaceful face. She reflected on her life so far, her professional success, her wealth, her marriage to Noah, all those things she once believed would make her happy, fill that emptiness she carried since childhood. But here, in this moment, with a child trusting her completely, Elena felt something she hadn't felt in a very long time, a sense of purpose and belonging. She knew there was a long road ahead. Questions about the children's parents, what they would do in the long term, those loomed. But for the first time, Elena didn't feel overwhelmed by uncertainty. As sleep finally claimed her, Elena silently promised herself and the children in her care that she would face her fears and overcome her insecurities. For them, for herself. She would become the person these kids needed. With that comforting thought, Elena fell asleep, her arm protectively around Lily, tomorrow's worries briefly forgotten in the peace of the moment. Dawn brought a fresh energy to the Sinclair mansion. Elena woke feeling different, as though her late-night talk with Lily had triggered something within her. She glanced at the sleeping girl, who looked so peaceful and safe. Carefully, so as not to wake Lily, Eleanor got up and went to check on the twins. Sophie and Emma were already awake, babbling happily in their makeshift cribs. Eleanor found herself smiling at the sight. "Good morning, little ones," she whispered, picking them up one at a time. "Let's let Lily sleep a bit longer, okay?" Down in the kitchen, Elena faced the challenge of preparing breakfast with two active babies in tow. She placed the twins in high chairs and started rummaging around. "Let's see what we have here," she muttered, mostly to herself. "I think we should learn how to make oatmeal, right?" Following a recipe on her phone, Elena carefully prepared the oatmeal. She found herself humming a quiet tune. The twins seemed delighted, clapping their hands and gurgling. Elena was amazed. She couldn't recall the last time she'd hummed anything, let alone a children's melody. Lily appeared in the doorway, rubbing the sleep from her eyes. "Good morning," she said shyly. Elena smiled warmly, a rush of affection surprising her. "Good morning, sleepyhead. Hungry? I'm making oatmeal for the babies, but I can whip up something else for you." Working together, Elena and Lily set the table for breakfast. Eleanor was struck by how naturally Lily handled her sisters, helping them with little tasks, as though she was so much older than her 5 years. After breakfast, Eleanor decided it was time to make the house more child-friendly. "Lily," she began, "you like drawing, right? How about we decorate the house a bit?" Lily's eyes lit up. Elena headed to her office and returned with a box of art supplies, colored pencils, crayons, colored paper, and even some paints. "Wow!" Lily exclaimed, eyes wide. "We can use all of this." Elena nodded, a new warmth spreading through her. "Absolutely. Let's make this house brighter and happier." They spent the morning painting and drawing. Elena discovered she had a surprising knack for sketching animals, while Lily created vibrant landscapes filled with flowers and rainbows. The twins, not wanting to be left out, contributed scribbles and colorful handprints. As the days passed, Elena noticed a rhythm forming. Mornings were for creative activities, with Lily showing ever-growing talent for art. Afternoons often meant strolls through the garden or reading sessions, with Elena surprising herself by recalling children's stories she thought long forgotten. Evenings brought new challenges. getting the twins to sleep. Elena found that her voice, usually reserved for corporate boardrooms, had a surprisingly calming effect on the babies when she softly sang lullabies. She found herself singing tunes that surfaced from a place deep in her memory. One day, while rocking Emma, Elena noticed the baby was reacting to the sound of her voice, eyes locked on Elena's face, a small smile forming. Elena's heart melted at this unexpected connection. The house, once a showpiece of cold and immaculate design, was gradually transforming. Lily's drawings began appearing on the walls, first shyly on the fridge, then branching out to the living room and hallways. Colorful toys occupied once empty corners, and the sound of children's laughter echoed through the once quiet rooms. Elena saw the change not just in the home, but in herself. The frustration she once felt at a baby's cries was replaced by a patience she never thought she possessed. Her smiles, previously rare and deliberate, now emerged easily, especially when Lily shared a new drawing or the twins hit a developmental milestone. One evening, after tucking the children into bed, Eleanor paused in the middle of the living room, taking in the transformation around her. Lily's colorful artwork adorned the walls, toys littered the floor, and a soft blanket draped over the designer sofa, an improvised nest for reading time with Lily. Eleanor was flooded by a swirl of emotions, fear of the unknown. Yes, but also an overwhelming excitement she hadn't felt in years, a sense of meaning and joy that took her by surprise. Picking up one of Lily's drawings, a brightly colored depiction of the 5 figures that now made up their improvised family, Elena felt tears well up. The house, once just a symbol of her professional success, now pulsed with life and love. As she got ready for bed, Elena mulled over the transformation taking place. It wasn't just the house or the routine that had changed, she was changing. The once cold career woman was slowly becoming someone more patient, more caring, more happy. Breathing deeply, Elena lay down, soothed by the gentle hum of the children's breathing in the next room. She didn't know exactly what the future held, but for the first time in a long time, she was looking forward to finding out. The fear remained, buzzing quietly at the back of her mind. But it was accompanied by something stronger. Hope. Hope that, just maybe, she had finally found something to fill the void she had carried for so long. Comforted by this thought, Elena drifted off to sleep with a faint smile, ready to face whatever the next day would bring. Elena woke to the sound of children's laughter in the hallway. For a moment, she felt disoriented, then smiled as she remembered her new normal. Stretching, she peeked out the window at a bright, inviting day. An idea began forming in her mind. They had spent days cooped up in the house, and the kids deserved some fresh air. How about a trip to the park, she mused, feeling equal parts excitement and nerves. Stepping out of her bedroom, she found Lily playing with the twins in the hall. "Good morning, girls," she said, greeted by radiant smiles. "How about we go to the park today?" Lily's eyes grew wide with excitement. "Really? We can?" Elena nodded, sharing her enthusiasm. "Absolutely. Let's have breakfast and then get ready." Breakfast was a lively affair, with Lily too excited to sit still, and the twins also picking up on the buzz in the air. Eleanor surprised herself with her efficiency as she packed diapers, snacks and toys for the outing. Finally, they set out from the house, and Eleanor felt a flicker of anxiety. It was her first time going out in public with all 3 children. What if something went wrong? What if people asked questions she couldn't answer? In the car, Lily chattered happily about the playground equipment she hoped to find, while the twins babbled contentedly in their car seats. Elena took a deep breath, murmuring, "It'll be fine." The park was brimming with families taking advantage of the sunny day. Elena parked the car and for a moment froze, watching other parents interact with their children with a natural ease she envied. "Elena, let's go." Lily's impatient voice shook her from her thoughts. With the twins in a double stroller and Lily skipping alongside, Elena entered the park. She breathed in the freshly cut grass and the cheerful sound of children's laughter. They found a pleasant spot near the playground. Elena laid out a blanket on the grass and sat down, placing the twins beside her. "You can go play, Lily," she offered. "Just stay where I can see you, okay?" Lily nodded eagerly and ran off to the swings. Eleanor watched her, that unfamiliar ache tugging at her chest again, a mixture of pride, worry, and something else she couldn't name. With the twins playing with a few toys on the blanket, Eleanor observed other families around the park. Mums chatting animatedly, dads pushing kids on the swings, couples picnicking. For the first time, she found herself imagining what it would be like to truly be part of that world. "First time at the park?" a friendly voice asked from behind her. Elena turned to see a smiling woman carrying a baby. "Is it that obvious?" Elena replied, offering a faint smile in return. The woman laughed. "A bit?" "I'm Sarah, and this is Tommy," she said, nodding at the baby. "Elena," she introduced herself, "and these are Sophie and Emma." Sarah sat down on the blanket, and soon they were chatting. Elena found the conversation surprisingly effortless, exchanging tips on baby feeding and the challenges of raising twins. Suddenly, a sharp cry rang out. Elena looked up to see Lily sprawled near the slide. Without a second thought, she jumped to her feet, leaving Sarah to watch the twins. "Lily, are you okay?" Elena asked, kneeling beside her. Lily sniffled, holding her scraped knee. "I fell," she whimpered. Eleanor examined the scrape. Nothing major, but her own reaction surprised her. The impulse to protect, to console, was overwhelming. "It's all right, sweetheart," Elena murmured, pulling Lily into a hug. "We'll clean it up, and you'll be good as new." Back at the blanket, Elena patched Lily's knee with a deftness that amazed herself. Sarah watched with an understanding smile. "You're a natural," Sarah commented. Elena gave a sheepish laugh. "Trust me, I wasn't like this a week ago." The rest of the afternoon flew by in a pleasant blur. Lily made friends with other kids, occasionally running back to show Eleanor some little treasure, a pretty leaf, a shiny rock. The twins, after a nap in the shade, woke up full of giggles and curiosity. As dusk fell, Elena gathered the children to head home. Lily, worn out but beaming, fell asleep almost instantly in the car. The twins, re-energized by their nap, babbled happily in the back seat. Eleanor drove in silence, reflecting on the day. For the first time, she felt like she belonged in that world of families and playgrounds. She wasn't perfect, still made mistakes, but she was learning and, more importantly, enjoying it. Once home, after giving the kids baths and putting them to bed, Elena paused in the hallway, gazing at the quiet bedrooms. The house, once so empty and cold, now felt alive, brimming with love and possibilities. She retrieved her phone, hesitating before opening the photo gallery. The day's pictures were there, Lily on the swings, the twins smiling on the grass. Even a selfie Sarah insisted they take together. Elena felt tears prick her eyes, this time tears of happiness. She realized she felt a sense of contentment she hadn't experienced in a long time. She felt complete. Lying in bed that night, Elena revisited how much her life had changed in such a short span. The once icy, work-driven woman was now discussing sleep schedules and baby food as though she'd always done it. Fear still lurked, of course. Fear of an unknown future, of inevitable complications. But it was overshadowed by something far more powerful: hope. Maybe, just maybe, she had found her true purpose. A small smile graced Elena's lips as she drifted off. That day at the park had been more than just an outing. It was a step into a new life, one she never imagined she wanted, but now couldn't fathom living without. Sunrise was only beginning to tint the sky when Elena's phone buzzed on the bedside table. Heart racing, she saw Noah's name lighting up the screen. With equal parts anxiety and excitement, she answered. "Noah," she croaked, still groggy. "Elena." "Good morning. Sorry for calling so early," came Noah's tired but concerned voice. "How are things going there?" Elena hesitated, mental images of the last few days flashing through her mind. The burnt pancakes, Lily's drawings on the walls, the park outing, how could she sum it up? "Things are fine," she replied, surprised by the upbeat lilt in her voice. "Actually, they're going better than I expected." A pause. Elena could practically see Noah's raised eyebrows on the other end. "Really?" he asked, a mix of relief and curiosity. Tell me more. Elena rose, moving to the window. Well, we've got a routine now. Lily's been an amazing help with the twins. Yesterday we went to the park and it was really nice. The words poured out more easily than she anticipated. Eleanor found herself telling Noah about Lily's art, Sophie and Emma's growing responses, and the impromptu picnic they had in the garden. Wow, Elena, Noah finally said once she paused for air. You sound different. Elena's throat tightened. Different, yes. I suppose I am, she admitted softly. Noah, these kids, they're changing everything. Another short silence ensued before Noah asked the question Eleanor had been dreading. What about social services? Have you learned anything about their parents? Eleanor's heart sank. Amid the new routine, she had almost forgotten that this arrangement was temporary, that at any moment she could lose the children who, without her noticing, had become so important. I haven't had much time to look into it, she confessed, guilt slicing through her. It's been hectic here. Elena, Noah said gently but firmly, I know it's complicated, but we have to figure this out. We can't just keep these children without a legal resolution. Elena knew Noah was right, but part of her wanted to protest, to claim the children belonged here. Swallowing her emotions, she forced herself to agree. You're right, she said instead. I'll get back to searching today. They spoke a few more minutes, Noah updating her on his business trip, Elena sharing a few more details about the kids. After they hung up, Elena stood still, phone in hand. A noise from the children's room broke her reverie. Lily was in the doorway, rubbing sleepy eyes. Good morning, Lily, Elena smiled, pushing aside her worries. Did you sleep well? Lily nodded, moving closer for a hug. Elena embraced her, feeling the little girl's warmth and trust. How could she ever let her go? The rest of the morning flew by in the usual flurry. Breakfast, diaper changes, playtime with the twins. But Noah's call lingered in Elena's mind. Finally, she found a moment of calm, with Lily engrossed in drawing and the twins napping. Elena settled in front of her computer, determined to dig for information. She knew she owed it to Lily and the twins to at least try to piece together their past. Hours went by, and Elena found herself lost in a maze of government websites, complex forms, and jammed phone lines. Her frustration mounted with every dead end. Eleanor? Lily's soft voice startled her from concentration. Are you okay? Eleanor turned, seeing the concern in Lily's eyes. She forced a smile. I'm fine, sweetie. Just some boring adult stuff. Lily edged closer, eyeing the computer screen curiously. Is it about us? The question caught Elena off guard. She hesitated, unsure how to respond. It's complicated, Lily. Are you going to send us away? Lily asked in a tiny, frightened voice. Eleanor's heart clenched. She pulled Lily onto her lap, hugging her tight. No, Lily, we're not sending you anywhere. We just need to figure some things out. Lily nestled into Eleanor's arms, and for a moment they stayed like that in silence. Eleanor felt the girl's heart beating and knew in that instant she would do anything to protect these children and keep them happy. A cry from one of the twins broke the stillness. Lily jumped up, ready to help. I'll see what they need, she said, her voice more confident now. Elena watched Lily go, a fierce blend of pride and concern twisting inside. How was it that a child so young could shoulder so much, be so responsible? Turning back to the computer, Elena closed her browser tabs. She knew she had to keep looking, that there were legalities to sort out, but for the moment, her priorities were here, in this house, with these children. She rose and followed Lily to the nursery. Along the way, she passed the colorful drawings pinned to the walls, the scattered toys on the floor. Her once spotless home now overflowed with life. Entering the room, she saw Lily gently rocking Sophie, while Emma played contentedly in her crib. It was such a simple, perfect scene that Eleanor felt tears prick at her eyes. Need any help? She asked softly. Lily looked at her and smiled, lighting up her entire face. No, I've got it. But you can stay with us if you want. Eleanor stepped into the room, sitting on the floor next to Lily. Watching the girl care for her sister so lovingly, Eleanor's heart hardened with resolve. No matter what she discovered about these children's past, she would protect them. They had already been through enough. Noah's call from earlier in the morning felt distant now. Elena realized they'd have plenty to discuss when he returned, many tough decisions to make. But for now, in this perfect moment with the kids, she allowed herself simply to be present. She picked Emma up, joining Lily in caring for the twins, and so they spent the afternoon, 4 of them together, forging bonds Elena knew would be hard to break. By late afternoon, golden sunlight streamed through the nursery curtains. Eleanor was on the floor, watching Lily play with the twins, feeling an unfamiliar sense of peace. Only days ago, the presence of children in her pristine mansion would have been unthinkable. Now, she couldn't imagine life any other way. Eleanor cleared her throat gently. "Lily," she said, "maybe we should tidy up your things. We can organize the closet." Lily nodded, setting Sophie down with a soft toy before joining Elena at the small closet. Together, they folded clothes and organized the few belongings the kids had brought that stormy night. That was when Elena noticed something in the bottom of Lily's little backpack, a book, or perhaps an album. Carefully, she pulled it out. "What's this, Lily?" Elena asked, turning it over in her hands. Lily's eyes went wide with recognition. "It's Mom's album," she said, her voice catching a mix of longing and excitement. Elena's heart quickened. An album, perhaps it held the answers they needed. Gently, as though handling something precious, she opened the cover. The first photo made her gasp. A happy family, a kind-looking man, a woman with Lily's same eyes, and 3 small children. Lily, younger, cradling 2 newborns, beaming with pride. "Is this your family?" Elena asked, voice hushed. Lily snuggled closer, her small fingers reverently touching the photo. "Yeah. Mom, Dad, me, and the twins." Eleanor flipped through the pages slowly, each picture revealing a slice of their lives. Birthday parties, picnics in parks, Lily's first day at school. Smiles everywhere, genuine love shining through. Elena couldn't help but notice the details. The slightly worn clothing, the modest birthday gifts, a small, humble house in some of the backgrounds, signs that, despite their happiness, money might have been tight. One photo in particular stood out, the entire family in front of a small but cozy-looking home, Lily holding a sign saying, "Our new home," her grin so big it nearly eclipsed her face. "That was our new house," Lily explained, her voice thick with emotion. "Dad worked so hard to get it." Eleanor's throat tightened. The joy in that picture was so real, so complete. What could have happened that left these kids alone in such dire circumstances? She kept turning pages, noticing fewer and fewer photos toward the end. Though the smiles were still present, the parents' eyes looked troubled, as if weighed down by worry. On the album's final page, Elena found a small, wrinkled note. "To our dear girls, we will always love you, no matter what happens. Be strong and look after one another. One day you'll understand, with all our love, Mom and Dad." Tears blurred Elena's vision. The pain and love in those few words were overwhelming. She looked at Lily, who stared at the note with a mix of sadness and confusion. "Lily," Eleanor said softly, "do you know what happened to your parents?" Lily shook her head, eyes brimming with tears. "They said they had something important to fix. They said they'd be back soon, but—" Her voice broke. Elena pulled Lily into a tight hug, feeling the little girl tremble with silent sobs. The twins, sensing the shift in the room's mood, whimpered softly. For several minutes, Elena just held Lily, stroking her hair and murmuring reassuring words. Her mind spun with questions. How could parents who appeared so loving vanish? When Lily finally calmed, Elena gently drew back, meeting her eyes. "Lily, I want you to know that I'll do everything I can to find out what happened and to keep you safe, okay?" Lily nodded, wiping tears away. "You promise you won't send us away?" The question was like a punch to Elena's gut. She knew she shouldn't make promises she might not be able to keep, but faced with Lily's hope-filled eyes, she couldn't hold back. "I promise I'll do everything in my power to keep you safe and happy," Elena replied, her voice steady despite the tempest inside her. The rest of the afternoon passed quietly. Elena continued organizing the room, her heart heavy with what she had learned from the album. Lily, emotionally drained, fell asleep curled up next to the twins. When night fell, Elena found herself alone in the living room, that photo album resting on her lap. She ran her fingers over the images, trying to unravel the mystery behind those frozen smiles. Discovering the album had changed everything. Suddenly, the children were no longer faceless strangers. They were Lily, Sophie, and Emma, kids with a loving family and a home they missed. The more Elena thought about it, the more questions arose. Could the parents have gotten into legal trouble? Were they on the run? Or had life's hardships forced them to make an impossible choice? Each scenario felt more painful than the last. She wanted to believe there was a reason, that parents who seemed so caring in these pictures wouldn't just abandon their children without cause. With a deep sigh, Elena closed the album. She now had a clear mission: not only care for these children, but also uncover the truth of what happened to their parents. The kids deserved answers. Heading upstairs, Elena stopped in front of the children's door. Lily was fast asleep, one arm draped protectively over her sister's. The scene tugged at Elena's heart. In that moment, she made a decision. Whatever she discovered, no matter the challenges, she would protect these kids. They had already endured far too much. Crawling into her own bed, Elena found it hard to sleep. Her thoughts kept returning to the photos and that final, handwritten note. So much love was captured in those pages. How had it come to this? Filled with determination, Elena made a silent promise. She would uncover the truth for Lily, for Sophie, for Emma, and, in the meantime, give them all the love, security, and happiness they deserved. The photo album, now safely stashed in her bedside drawer, was more than just a collection of memories. It was a constant reminder of her new purpose, a responsibility she hadn't sought, but now embraced wholeheartedly. Morning arrived with a piercing wail from the children's room. Elena snapped awake, adrenaline pumping. She hurried into the hallway, feeling that same protective urge. In the nursery, she found Lily awake, trying to soothe Emma, whose cries were loud and insistent. Sophie, roused by her sister's noise, squirmed uneasily in the crib. "What's wrong?" Elena asked, rushing over. Lily looked up, anxious. "I think Emma has a fever. She's so hot and won't stop crying." Elena scooped Emma up, feeling the baby's heated skin. Fear and a fierce protective instinct surged in her chest. "We'll handle this," she said firmly, keeping her voice calm despite the anxiety in her gut. "Lily, can you look after Sophie while I take care of Emma?" Lily nodded, immediately stepping up. Elena took Emma to the bathroom, where she kept a thermometer. As she measured Emma's temperature, she murmured soft reassurances, amazed at how natural it felt. The thermometer confirmed a high fever. Panic threatened to take hold, but Eleanor forced herself to remain calm. If she were a more experienced mother, what would she do now? Holding Emma securely, Eleanor went to the kitchen to prepare a cool compress. Returning to the nursery, she found Lily pacing with Sophie in her arms, who thankfully was calmer now. "Will she be okay?" Lily asked, her voice quivering. Elena offered what she hoped was a comforting smile. "Yes, darling. She probably has a little bug, but we'll take good care of her. She'll be fine." The next several hours blurred with alternating cool compresses, fever medicine, and endless rocking. Elena surprised herself with her stamina. She stayed up all night without even thinking of sleep. Finally, as dawn broke, Emma's fever broke with it. Elena laid her gently in the crib, exhaustion mingling with relief. Turning, she found Lily standing in the doorway. "You were amazing," the girl said, awe shining in her eyes. Eleanor felt a warmth spread through her. Without words, she opened her arms, and Lily ran into them. They stayed that way for a moment, bonded by something deep and unspoken. The next day was peaceful, with Emma recovering and Sophie strangely subdued, as though sensing she should be gentle while her sister healed. Eleanor found herself frequently checking Emma, adjusting blankets, taking temperatures. Each small improvement, a smile at a happy coo, made Elena's heart soar. That afternoon, while the twins napped and Lily colored quietly, Elena allowed herself a moment to reflect. She realized that not once during the night's crisis had she thought about work or her old life. Her entire focus had been on the children's well-being. In that quiet moment, Elena felt another shift inside. The fear of motherhood she once harbored had been replaced by an unshakable certainty. She could do this. More than that, she wanted to. Her thoughts were interrupted by a sound that made her heart skip. Sophie's first unsteady step. Elena watched, astonished, as the baby took a couple of wobbly steps before toppling over, giggling. "Lily!" Elena called out excitedly. "Come see." Lily rushed in just in time to see Sophie try again. They clapped and cheered as Sophie tottered a few more steps. Emma, feeling better, joined the celebration from her spot on the rug, cooing happily. Elena scooped Sophie up, showering her with kisses. "You did it, my love. I'm so proud." The words flowed so naturally that Elena only realized their weight afterward. My love. When had these children become hers? The rest of the day was filled with joyful chaos. Emma, now determined, tried to mimic Sophie's steps. Elena and Lily were on constant alert, helping them up after each tumble. That night, once the children were all asleep, Elena again found herself reviewing the camera roll on her phone. The pictures had multiplied. Lily focused on her art, the twins sleeping peacefully, Emma's first smile after her fever, Sophie's triumphant steps. Tears came to Elena's eyes, not of sorrow but of happiness. Without realizing it, she had fallen in love. Not with the abstract concept of motherhood, but with these specific children and their unique traits and quirks. Lying in bed, Elena contemplated how her life had changed so drastically, so quickly. The woman once defined by her job now found her greatest joy in a lullaby or Lily's tight embrace. She knew there was much left to sort out legally, plus the unanswered questions about Lily, Sophie, and Emma's parents. But for the first time, those hurdles didn't seem insurmountable. They simply felt like steps in ensuring her family stayed together. Family. The word echoed in Elena's mind with new meaning. Yes, that's what they had become. Their family, born of circumstance and bound by love. With a contented sigh, Elena drifted to sleep, a faint smile on her lips. Her last thought was a silent vow to the 3 children sleeping in the next room. "I will always be here for you, always." The maternal instinct Elena had once feared she lacked had awakened with a vengeance. And with it came the certainty there was nothing she wouldn't do to protect and love Lily, Sophie, and Emma. Though the future remained uncertain, one thing was clear. Wherever life led them, they would face it together as a family. Morning light nudged Elena awake, the gentle babble of the twins floating down the hall. She allowed herself a moment to savor the quiet. Today was special, Lily's birthday, her first since officially becoming part of the Sinclair household. Elena slipped out of bed, careful not to rouse Noah, who was still asleep. She headed downstairs, crossing the wood floors in bare feet. In the kitchen, she began preparing the special birthday breakfast she'd planned. As she mixed the pancake batter, Elena looked back on the past year. It felt impossible that just 12 months ago, her life had been so starkly different. The career-driven woman had transformed into a devoted mother, and Elena couldn't have been happier about it. She heard small footsteps on the stairs. Lily appeared in the kitchen doorway, still in pajamas, eyes gleaming with excitement. "Good morning, birthday girl," Elena grinned, opening her arms wide. Lily raced into her embrace, giggling as Elena lifted and spun her around. "Mom, it's my day." "It sure is, my love," Elena replied, kissing the top of Lily's head. "And it's going to be wonderful." Together they finished making breakfast. Lily, now 6 years old, insisted on helping with everything, from setting the table to decorating the pancakes with fresh fruit. Noah came downstairs soon after, carrying Sophie and Emma, both still drowsy but smiling. "Look who's turning 6 today," he exclaimed, setting the twins in their high chairs before hugging Lily. Their breakfast turned into a mini celebration, complete with laughter and big plans for the day. Lily could hardly contain her excitement for the party they'd be hosting that afternoon. After breakfast, Noah kept the kids entertained in the yard while Elena handled last-minute party details. She hung colorful balloons and set up a dessert table, carefully placing the elaborate unicorn-shaped cake Lily had chosen at the center. As party time approached, the house filled with excited energy. Friends from Lily's school, some of Elena and Noah's colleagues, and a few neighbors arrived, filling the yard with chatter and laughter. Elena hovered on the deck, heart brimming with happiness. Lily zipped around, wearing a brand new dress, collecting hugs and well wishes from guests. The twins, nearly two, tottered after her, their delighted squeals ringing out. Noah sidled up to Elena, wrapping an arm around her waist. "You did an amazing job," he murmured, planting a soft kiss on her temple. Elena leaned into him, warmth blooming in her chest. "We did this together." The afternoon flew by in a flurry of games, laughter, and precious memories. Several times, Elena paused simply to observe, drinking in the children's laughter, the aroma of the cake, the surge of happiness that seemed to permeate every corner of the house. Eventually, it was time for the birthday song. Everyone gathered around the table, Lily center stage, her eyes shining with anticipation as the candles glowed on the cake. Elena and Noah stood on either side, each holding one of the twins. "Make a wish, sweetheart," Elena encouraged after the singing ended. Lily squeezed her eyes shut, an earnest expression crossing her face, then blew out the candles. Cheers and applause rang out. While Noah cut the cake, Eleanor noticed Lily gazing thoughtfully at a family photo on one wall, taken just days after the adoption was finalized. All 5 Sinclairs beamed at the camera. "Everything okay, sweetie?" Elena asked softly, crouching beside her daughter. Lily nodded, a small smile forming. "I was just thinking about my other parents. Do you think they'd be happy to see me like this?" Eleanor's heart constricted. She and Noah had always kept the memory of Lily's biological parents alive, reminding her of how loved she was by them as well. "I'm certain they would, Lily," Elena whispered, hugging the girl. "They wanted you to be happy and loved. And you are, aren't you?" Lily smiled, hugging Eleanor back. "Yes, I love you, Mom. We love you too, my angel. More than you can imagine." Their moment was interrupted by Sophie and Emma, who ran up, their faces smeared with frosting. "Cake! Mommy!" they cried in unison, making both Elena and Lily laugh. The party lasted until evening, guests departing with warm smiles and leftover slices of unicorn cake. Soon, only the Sinclair family remained in the living room, thoroughly worn out but glowing with joy. Lily, surrounded by her new presents, kept rambling excitedly about every detail of the day. The twins, tired yet refusing to sleep, curled into Noah's lap. Elena watched, feeling a deep contentment settle in her. Not long ago, she wouldn't have believed she'd ever become a mother, much less enjoy it. Now she could barely recognize the woman she used to be. "What's on your mind?" Noah asked gently, noticing her thoughtful expression. Elena smiled, joining him on the sofa. "Just how fortunate we are. How life can surprise us in the most beautiful way." Noah nodded, understanding perfectly. "Who would have guessed that stormy night would change our lives forever, huh?" Lily, overhearing, joined them. "Which stormy night?" Elena exchanged a look with Noah before answering. "The night we found you and your sisters. The night our family really began." Lily beamed, snuggling between them. "That's my favorite story." As evening deepened, the Sinclair family remained cozied up on the sofa, reminiscing and looking ahead. Elena knew life wouldn't always be perfect. There would be disputes, tears, tough times. But surrounded by her family, she felt certain they could handle anything. Because in the end, it wasn't blood that made them a family, but love. And love was something the Sinclairs had in abundance. The days following Elena and Noah's decision were a whirlwind of emotions and tasks. The household, already full of life from the children, now hummed with the energy of a family solidifying its foundation. In the first week after Noah's return, the couple began formal adoption proceedings. Sitting in their lawyer's office, Dr. Martinez, Elena and Noah faced a stack of paperwork and legal requirements. "The process can be lengthy and complex," Dr. Martinez said, adjusting his glasses, "especially under these unique circumstances." Eleanor squeezed Noah's hand, feeling equal measures of determination and apprehension. "We'll do whatever it takes," she said resolutely. The lawyer nodded, a small smile on his lips. "Very well. Let's begin. First, we need to establish the children's current legal status." That was when Elena and Noah decided it was time to investigate the children's past more thoroughly, hiring a private investigator to uncover what had happened to Lily, Sophie, and Emma's parents. Meanwhile, life at the Sinclair home went on as usual. Noah, now fully immersed in family routines, discovered daily the joys and challenges of fatherhood. One morning, while trying to feed a stubborn Emma who refused her baby food, Noah glanced helplessly at Elena. "How do you make this look so easy?" Elena laughed, taking the spoon from him. "Lots of practice, tons of love, and maybe a little magic," she teased, managing to coax Emma into opening her mouth for another bite. Lily, for her part, blossomed under the care she received. Her artistic talents grew, and soon her brightly colored drawings filled every corner of the house. One in particular, depicting 5 stick figures holding hands, clearly representing the new family, took pride of place in the living room. Weeks turned into months. The adoption process inched forward, with social worker visits, psychological evaluations, and endless forms. Each small milestone was celebrated like a significant victory. During this period, the private investigator finally reported back on the children's biological parents. Elena and Noah met him in the office, nerves on edge. "We found records of a car accident," the investigator said gently. "It happened on the night the children were discovered. The parents, Robert and Maria Thompson, unfortunately did not survive." Tears trickled down Elena's face, grief for the children's loss, and a guilty sense of relief that there would be no custody battle. Noah's voice was thick with emotion. "What about extended family, grandparents, aunts, uncles?" The investigator shook his head. "We found no close relatives. Though tragic, the news clarified the legal situation. With no surviving family and the parents confirmed deceased, adoption became a more direct path. Now, Eleanor and Noah faced the difficult task of explaining to Lily what had happened. They chose a quiet Saturday after a backyard picnic. "Lily, sweetie," Eleanor began, sitting beside her on a blanket spread over the grass. "Remember we talked about looking for your parents?" Lily nodded, big eyes fixed on Elena's face. Noah sat close, Sophie and Emma nearby. "We found out what happened," Noah said softly. "Your parents, they had a car accident the night we found you." Lily froze, processing the words. They died?" she asked, her voice barely audible. Elena felt her heart break. "Yes, sweetheart. They did. I'm so sorry." Tears pooled in Lily's eyes, and she threw her arms around Elena, sobbing into her chest. Noah wrapped his arms around them both, forming a shield of comfort. "It's okay to cry," Elena murmured, stroking Lily's hair. "They loved you so much." "That note we found in the album proves it." Lily sobbed in Elena's arms for several minutes. When she finally calmed, she wiped her tears and looked at them. "Do you still want to be our parents?" she asked, voice shaking. Noah offered a gentle smile. "More than ever, Lily, if you'll have us." Lily nodded, a slight smile appearing amid tears. "I do. You're my family now." That moment in the backyard signaled a turning point. From then on, the adoption process seemed to gain momentum. The visits from social services increased, each ending with positive reports about the loving environment in the Sinclair home. Eleanor and Noah worked tirelessly to make their home and lives ready for the children. They fully redecorated the girls' bedroom, outfitting it with 3 adorable beds, one larger for Lily and 2 smaller for the twins. The walls were painted with enchanted garden scenes by a local artist moved by the family's story. As time passed, various small milestones were reached and celebrated. Sophie and Emma spoke their first words, Mama and Dada, to Elena and Noah's immense delight. Lily had her first day at a new school, returning with bright-eyed tales about new friends. One night, as Elena tucked the girls in, Lily quietly surprised her by calling her Mommy for the first time. It stopped Elena cold, tears rushing to her eyes. "Is it all right if I call you that?" Lily asked hesitantly. Elena smiled, hugging her tight. It's more than all right, my love. It's perfect. The weeks turned into months until finally, after what felt like an eternity, the phone call they'd been waiting for arrived. Dr. Martinez, voice brimming with excitement, shared the big news. The adoption has been approved. Congratulations, Elena and Noah. You're officially the parents of Lily, Sophie, and Emma Sinclair. The celebration that followed was a burst of joy and love. Friends and family gathered to commemorate the official confirmation of what everyone already knew in their hearts. Eleanor, Noah, Lily, Sophie, and Emma were family. During the party, Elena found a quiet moment, watching the lively scene around her. Noah played with the twins, his face alight with happiness, while Lily dashed about, proudly displaying her latest family drawing, now with the surname Sinclair in bright letters. Emotions swelled in Elena's chest. The path to this point hadn't been smooth. There were dark moments of doubt and fear, but every challenge and obstacle had only reinforced the love that connected them. Gazing at her family, Elena knew with absolute certainty she'd made the right choice. These three girls, who had entered her life so unexpectedly, filled a void she hadn't known she had. They turned her house into a home and her heart into a limitless well of love. Elena was aware the future would still bring trials. There would be hard days, fights, tears, but also laughter, hugs, and moments of sheer joy, and they would face it all together as a family, because now they were the Sinclairs, a family not bound by blood, but by love. And Elena knew that love was the strongest force of all. Dawn broke over the Sinclair mansion, with subtle hues of pink and orange in the sky. Elena opened her eyes slowly, taking a moment to relish the hush of a still sleeping house. Today was Lily's birthday, her first as an official Sinclair. Slipping out of bed carefully so as not to wake Noah, Elena tiptoed downstairs, her bare feet barely making a sound. In the kitchen, she began preparing the special breakfast she had planned. Reflecting on the past year, Elena found it incredible how much had changed. Who would have guessed that just a year ago she had been so different? The career-focused woman who dreaded parenthood had morphed into a fully engaged mom, and Elena had never felt more fulfilled. The patter of little feet on the staircase alerted her. Lily appeared, still in pajamas, bright-eyed with excitement. "Good morning, birthday girl," Elena greeted, stretching her arms out for a hug. Lily bounded over, laughing as Elena scooped her up. "Mom, today's my day." "Yes, it is, my love," Elena answered, kissing the top of her head. "Let's make it wonderful." Together, they finished preparing breakfast. Now 6, Lily insisted on helping in every detail, from setting the table to decorating the pancakes with fresh berries. Noah came down soon after, carrying Sophie and Emma, both yawning but sporting matching smiles. "Look who's 6 today," he teased, placing the twins into high chairs before hugging Lily. Breakfast became a celebration in itself, filled with laughter and grand plans for the day. Lily was almost too excited to eat, and the twins, sensing the lively atmosphere, giggled incessantly. After the meal, while Noah entertained the children out in the garden, Elena focused on the last touches for the party. Balloons of every color were hung, a dessert table was arranged, and a spectacular unicorn cake, Lily's choice, was placed proudly in the center. As the party hour approached, guests began to arrive. Classmates from Lily's school, some of Elena and Noah's friends from work, and a few neighbors gathered, filling the garden with animated chatter and laughter. From the deck, Elena watched with a heart brimming over. Lily fluttered around, sporting her new birthday dress, greeting every guest with shining eyes. The twins, nearly 2, toddled about, squealing in delight whenever they got close to Lily. Noah came up behind Elena, sliding an arm around her waist. "You did a fantastic job," he said, dropping a kiss on her temple. Elena leaned into him, warmth spreading through her chest. "We did," she corrected gently. Together. The afternoon flew by in a whirlwind of games, chatter, and treasured moments. Elena frequently paused just to take it all in, the gleeful sounds of children, the sweet scent of birthday cake, and the new sense of complete joy saturating the house. When it came time to sing Happy Birthday, everyone gathered around the table. Lily stood at the center, her eyes sparkling in the candlelight. Eleanor and Noah flanked her, each holding one of the twins. "Make a wish, sweetheart," Eleanor prompted once the song ended. Lily closed her eyes, wearing a serious expression, then blew out the candles with all her might. Cheers rose around her. While Noah cut slices of cake, Elena noticed Lily staring pensively at a family picture on one wall. The shot, taken soon after the adoption was finalized, captured all 5 Sinclairs smiling ear to ear. "You okay, sweetie?" Elena asked quietly, kneeling by her side. Lily nodded, letting a small smile curve her lips. "I was just thinking about my other parents. Do you think they'd be happy to see me like this?" Elena's chest constricted. She and Noah had always made sure to keep Lily's birth parents part of her story, reminding her they had loved her too. "I'm sure they'd be thrilled, Lily," Elena replied gently, enfolding her in a hug. "They wanted you to be happy and loved, and you are, right?" Lily smiled, hugging Elena back. "So much. I love you, Mom." "We love you too, Angel, more than you can imagine." Just then, Sophie and Emma came bounding over, faces sticky with frosting. "Cake, Mommy!" they hollered in unison, making Elena and Lily giggle. The celebration lasted well into the evening, guests trickling out one by one, each leaving with a smile and a slice of leftover cake. Eventually, it was just the Sinclair family in the living room, tired but content. Lily, surrounded by her birthday presents, chatted incessantly about each gift. The twins, clinging to the last of their energy, snuggled into Noah's lap. Elena observed, a calm sense of peace settling over her. The woman who once dreaded motherhood could hardly recall that version of herself. She'd never felt so sure of her path. "What are you thinking about?" Noah asked softly, catching her pensive gaze. Elena smiled, sinking onto the couch beside him. "How lucky we are. How life can take a turn for the better in the most unexpected ways." Noah nodded, understanding. "Who knew that stormy night would reshape everything?" Lily, catching the conversation, crawled onto the couch. "Which stormy night?" Elena and Noah exchanged a knowing look before responding. "The night we found you and your sisters. The night our family truly began." Lily smiled, nestling between them. "It's my favorite story." As night deepened, the Sinclair family stayed piled on the sofa, reminiscing and imagining what lay ahead. Elena realized life wouldn't always be perfect. There'd be squabbles, tears, trying moments, but gazing at her husband and daughters, she knew they could face anything together, because ultimately, blood ties didn't define a family. Love did. And the Sinclairs had love in abundance. As soon as Noah returned from his business trip, things moved quickly. The mansion, once quiet and cold, now vibrated with a busy energy. 3 little girls, a new family structure, and a host of tasks to finalize. Nearly every day brought another form to complete, another meeting with social workers, or another visit from lawyers. Yet each step forward seemed to solidify the bond they all shared. One morning, as Elena prepared breakfast, Lily tugged on her sleeve. "Mom, can we make pancakes again?" Elena smiled, remembering the chaos of that first attempt. "Of course, sweetheart. Want to help?" Lily grinned, nodding eagerly. She dragged a stool beside Eleanor, who measured out flour and milk. The sweet memory of that desperate morning flickered through Elena's mind, and she realized how far they'd come. Sophie and Emma, now toddling around, babbled pancakes in their own way, making Elena and Lily laugh. "They're learning so fast," Elena murmured, stirring the batter. "Feels like just yesterday they were still crawling everywhere." "Mom?" Lily asked, sprinkling blueberries into the mix. "Do you think I'll remember this forever? Us making pancakes and stuff?" Elena knelt to meet Lily's eyes. "I hope so, honey. These moments are special." Just then, Noah walked in, rummaging for coffee. "Are you two planning to share those pancakes with the rest of us?" he teased. Lily giggled. "Only if you set the table, Dad." With a playful salute, Noah went to fetch plates and silverware. Soon, the Sinclair family gathered around the kitchen table. Elena flipping pancakes, Lily proudly passing them out, the twins banging spoons, and Noah narrating a funny story from work. Eleanor took a mental snapshot of the scene. The once sterile kitchen now brimming with color and warmth, the house filled with laughter, and her heart overflowing with gratitude. "Thanks, Lily," Eleanor said, as she accepted another blueberry-laden pancake. "For helping and for everything." Lily tilted her head, curious. "For what?" Eleanor locked eyes with the girl who had changed her life so profoundly. "For being you, for teaching me so much about love and family." Lily smiled, a touch of bashfulness coloring her cheeks. "I learned from you, too." They finished breakfast in a flurry of giggles. Then, while Noah cleaned up the plates and Lily led the twins off to play, Elena took a brief moment alone, leaning against the kitchen counter. It struck her again how fully her life had transformed. She once measured success by deals closed and profits earned. Now success was the sound of her children laughing, the sight of Lily's doodles taped on the fridge, and the feel of a sleepy baby snuggled in her arms. Finally, she tore herself from her thoughts. There was always more to do, papers to sign, phone calls to make, the last stretch of the adoption process to finalize. Later that afternoon, as Eleanor handled paperwork in her office, Lily peeked in. "Mum, can I draw in here with you?" she asked. "Absolutely, sweetie," Eleanor replied, nodding at the corner of the room. Lily settled on the floor, crayons and paper spread before her. The two worked quietly, Elena reviewing documents, Lily creating art. Occasionally, the scratch of crayon paused as Lily watched her mother type or scroll through records about the final adoption hearing date. "Is that about us?" Lily asked eventually, pointing to Elena's computer screen. Elena nodded, removing her glasses. "Yes, just a few final steps to make everything official." Lily frowned thoughtfully. "And then it's forever, right?" Eleanor's heart squeezed. "Yes, Lily, forever." Lily's face lit up. "Good," she said simply, returning to her drawing. Hours slipped by, comfortable in each other's presence. When Noah popped his head in to say dinner was ready, Eleanor and Lily both blinked, surprised at how fast time had passed. Over a simple meal, the family chatted about their day. The twins babbled their own stories, only partially comprehensible, but adorable nonetheless. Lily held up her newest drawing, another of the 5 Sinclairs, hearts and flowers all around. "That's beautiful," Noah praised, ruffling Lily's hair. The girl beamed. After dinner, the bedtime routine began. Baths for the twins, a story for Lily. Lullabies that Elena and Noah now knew by heart. Before turning out the lights, Lily hugged them both. "I love you, Mom. I love you, Dad," she whispered. In the dim glow of the nightlight, Elena glimpsed the happy sparkle in Lily's eyes and felt an answering warmth in her chest. The house grew quiet at last, the children asleep. Eleanor and Noah found themselves alone in the living room, a rare moment of calm. They sank onto the sofa, exhaustion mingled with contentment. Hand in hand, they reflected on the journey that had brought them to this point, how a stormy night had delivered 3 unexpected gifts and ultimately led them to discover the profound power of love.